Hey guys, so I wanted to cover a little bit about the intake process, what it looks like, what I do, so that way you guys kind of know what at least I do from my perspective, what my expectations are as for myself as a coach. So that way I can help you guys reach your goals. So, first thing I do is I ask you to answer about 20 questions. There's quite a bit. Anything from obviously your stats like your height, age, weight, your training schedule, what that looks like, what time of day, what kind of intensity. Let's see what else. Even bowel movements, because that is important, as well as stressors in life, like how's work, how stressful is work, how many hours do you sleep, all of that kind of stuff that helps me understand who you are, what your day-to-day life looks like, how stressful it might be, so that way I can get an idea of how to write you an individual prescription. So from there, usually we have a phone conversation about what I do, what your goals are, because obviously that's why you're here, to reach your goals. And then I also ask for 3 days worth of food logs. The reason why I ask for food logs is because I want to obviously see what you eat. But more importantly, I want to see how many calories your body is used to consuming on a day-to-day basis, as well as how that breaks down into fat, protein, and carbs. The main reason behind that, and I don't think a lot of coaches do that, or perhaps I know if you're going for a group-based approach, like a template format, I don't think that's even in there because you're just following a template of sorts. But the important part of that is so that way I can start you somewhere that makes sense for you. And so when you're coming to me and you're eating 1,000 calories a day, and based on your activity level and your height and weight and all that stuff, you should be eating 2,400 a day. Obviously, going from 1,000 to 24, anything close, is not going to be very realistic, and you're probably going to look at me like I'm a little bit crazy. And so that gives me an idea, okay, where do I want to start this person? What are their goals? How do I think they're going to respond to my prescription? And so based on what I gather from our phone conversation, what kind of person I think you are, I'll start you based on that. So, for example, someone who they want to lose weight, it's not so much the scale, it's more of like they just want to lose some body fat. But they also want to feel pretty good in the gym. I can be a little bit more aggressive with someone like that versus someone who might slice my throat if I the weight goes up a little bit. And so with someone who's a lot more conservative, who's afraid of the scale, I'm going to take a lot more conservative of an approach, just because that's going to help them stay as sane as possible. So everyone's a little bit different, and that definitely has to be taken into account. Obviously, another piece of the puzzle is how are those calories breaking down into macronutrients. A little bit that factors in on there is like your activity level, your age, your past, and what are you currently eating. So if someone comes to me and they're eating under 100 grams of carbs, for me to prescribe them 300 a day would be crazy. And so I have to get an idea of what normal is for you, and then I can kind of move you as we proceed in the direction that I think you should go. But obviously, week to week, I am adjusting your prescription based on how you're responding, how you're feeling, how you're training, and your feedback to me, as well as obviously what's the scale doing. Not to mention, what's the body doing through pictures, because that seems to be the easiest way to track progress, especially as most of my clients tend to be eating more than they're used to. The scale doesn't necessarily reflect what's happening on the body as quickly as pictures do. And so a lot of the time, I'm definitely having clients take pictures every 2 weeks so that way they can see, oh, okay, things are actually happening. The scale just hasn't caught up to what the body's doing. So that's a little bit of an overview in terms of the intake process. Obviously, after I get all of that, I can create a prescription. In the prescription itself, let's see, we have obviously the calories and how they break down into macronutrients. I also give a Google spreadsheet that we both have access to, so that way you can track your weight as well as the macros that you hit, so that way we can both, track progress week to week. I have an idea of how things have been going for the past week before I even get to talk to you. And then nutrient timing is important. So timing around workouts, how many carbs you should have beforehand, afterhand, all that kind of fun stuff. Supplement recommendations and hydration. So those are that's all that would be in the email that I would send back to you to get you started. And obviously, from my coaching perspective and what I do, I call my clients. They also have text and email access to me. So constant contact. It's a good time. So yeah, that's kind of wraps it up. So if you guys have any questions about the process or why I do what I do, or you just want to kind of get my feedback on what you're doing, just let me know. And I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.